Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Rose here. I hope you all are enjoying your summer so far. I know I have been. I'm going to be tuning in each week to share a book with you. I've heard you've been getting a book in the mail each week, and I am too. Sometimes our book might be the same, and other times it might be a different story. It's okay if our books aren't the same. You can still enjoy the story I'm sharing. We will also have some lessons and activities to go along with each book. I hope you enjoy our time together and learn some new things. It's really important to continue reading over the summer and to make new wrinkles in your brain. Your teachers will be so impressed with you when we are back at FES. You can even tell them all about the stories you read over the summer. The first story I'm going to share with you is called The Great Kapok Tree by Lynn Cherry. I'm going to flip my camera around so you are able to see the pictures and follow along while I read. Before we start reading, I want you to look closely at the cover of the book. What animals do you spot? Go ahead and tell someone in your house or even comment below. I'm seeing all sorts of animals. I spot a toucan, a boa constrictor, and even some monkeys. And there's a bunch more animals. It looks like the story is taking place in the rainforest, which leads to my next question. What information do you already know about rainforests? Where are they located? Does the United States have tropical rainforests? I want you to take a moment to answer these questions. You can either write them down or tell somebody you are with. I know rainforests have different levels and can be very hot and humid. We also can tell from the cover of our book that they are very colorful and are home to many different animals. I'm noticing something else besides just animals on this cover, though. I see a man. What do you think he is contemplating doing? I'll zoom in so you can get a better picture of him. Tell someone you are with or comment below, what is he thinking about doing? I'm guessing he wants to chop down this giant tree. What clues did I use to help me come to that conclusion? It doesn't tell me that anywhere on this cover, but I saw some things that made me think that he wants to cut down this tree. Do you see his facial expression and how he's looking up at the tree? How about the axe on his belt? I know usually that when somebody has an axe, they're going to chop something down. I can't wait to read the story to find out what happens. Before we begin reading, there are a few vocabulary words I'd like to go over with you. There are a lot of words in this story, but 10 of them stuck out to me. Some of them you may have heard before, and others might be completely new. It will help us understand the story better if we know what these words mean before we start reading. That way, when we hear them in the book, we will know exactly what it means. If you forget what a word means during the story, just rewind the video until you come back to this part where we review some words. Our first word is lulled. It means to calm or cause to sleep. Have you ever lulled a baby to sleep? Maybe you have. Our second vocabulary word is depend. It means to trust or rely on. I know I've had to depend on some people before. Wither, to dry up or wilt. I want you to turn to somebody or tell somebody in your house or comment below, have you ever seen anything wither or dry up? What was it? Canopy, the uppermost trees or branches in a forest. And when we were looking at the cover of the book, I knew that there was different layers or levels in the forest, so the canopy must be the name for the top part in the rainforest. Murmur, to make a soft, muffled, continuous sound. Fragrant, having a pleasant smell. Comment below or tell somebody near you, what is your favorite fragrance? What is your favorite smell? And it has to be a pleasant smell. Move these to the side so we have room for our other words. Our next one is feast, to enjoy something very much. Dappled, marked with spots or rounded patches. Wondrous, wonderful, marvelous. And our last one is hesitated, to stop or pause because you're not sure of something. That's all 10 words. I'm excited to put my new knowledge to use and can't wait to see why these specific words are in this book. I'm wondering what's going to happen in the rainforest. I want you to make a prediction of what you think the story might be about, and I want you to use one of our vocabulary words. This might sound something like, I predict that the man on the cover of the book is going to be lulled to sleep by all of the animal noises in the rainforest. Do you see how I used one of our vocabulary words, lulled, in my prediction? Try it at home or comment below. Stay tuned because in our next video, I will be reading the book, The Great Kapok Tree. The Great Kapok Tree, A Tale of the Amazon Rainforest by Lynn Cherry. Dear readers, I wrote The Great Kapok Tree to let the world know what happens to the rainforest creatures and to the entire planet when rainforests are destroyed. I hope that after reading this book, you will help save the rainforest. The Great Kapok Tree is about the Amazon rainforest, a tropical rainforest, but we have a temperate rainforest in the Pacific Northwest of the United States that we must protect too. To save acres in the tropical rainforest, write The Children's Rainforest, P.O. Box 936, Lewiston, Maine 04240. Please care for Mother Earth. Together we can make a difference. Lynn Cherry, 1993. I'm going to zoom in. It looks like it's giving us a little diagram of the different layers of the rainforest. So we have the understory, which is the herb layer, shrub layer, the middle layer, which is the canopy, and then the emergence, so the very tippy top. Also around this page we can see all sorts of animals that live in the rainforest. So we have anteaters, boa constrictor, we have some monkeys, iguana, butterflies, ocelot, parakeet, poison arrow frog. We have tapirs, porcupines, tree frogs, more snakes, and more birds. Lots of different animals live in the rainforest. And we have a map, tropical rainforest of the world. So in the dark green, today's rainforest. So I'm seeing mostly green in Africa, South America, and near Asia. The light green is original extent of rainforest. So it's showing how big rainforests used to be, but the dark green is what it looks like now. So the rainforests have shrunk. In the Amazon rainforest, it is always hot, and in that heat, everything grows and grows and grows. The tops of the trees in the rainforest are called the canopy. The canopy is a sunny place that touches the sky. The animals that live there like lots of light. Colorful parrots fly from tree to tree. Monkeys leap from branch to branch. The bottom of the rainforest is called the understory. The animals that live in the understory like darkness. There, silent snakes curl around hanging vines. Graceful jaguars watch and wait. And in this steamy environment, the great kapok tree shoots up through the forest and emerges above the canopy. This is the story of a community of animals that live in one such tree in the rainforest. While we're reading, I want you to put a thumbs up if you hear any of our vocabulary words that we reviewed. So they were hesitated, wondrous, dappled, feast, fragrant, canopy. We've heard that one a couple times already. Depend, murmur, wither, and lulled. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you hear any of those words during our story. Two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with the sounds of squawking birds and howling monkeys. Now, all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to a great kapok tree. Then he left. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack! 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 The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop! 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 The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack! Chop! Whack! Chop! Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. I hope you put your thumb up. Right there we had the word lulled. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear. Senor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down. A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. Senor, my hive is in this kapok tree, and I fly from tree to tree and flower to flower, collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another. There's the bee. A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy, thumbs up, of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. Senor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert. I heard another vocabulary word too. Did you hear it? It was wither. A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy. "Señor," squawked the toucan, "you must not cut down this tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you begin to chop down the trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain." A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaky voice, he piped in the man's ear, "Señor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives, many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great kapok tree." A jaguar had been sleeping along a branch in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, "Señor, the kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner?" Oh, I missed it. Dappled. Remember, that means spotted. Four tree porcupines swung down from branch to branch and whispered to the man, "Señor, do you know what we animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And, Señor, do you know what trees produce? Oxygen. If you cut down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life." Several anteaters climbed down the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, "Señor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know that what happens tomorrow depends on what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees." A three-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the men first appeared. Only now did she reach the ground. Plodding ever so slowly over to the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice. "Señor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroyed the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes?" Thumbs up, feast, and canopy again. A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, "Señor, when you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes." Murmured. The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him, staring, were the creatures who depended upon the great kapok tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were! Thumbs up for wondrous. The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the great kapok tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. Fragrant. Thumbs up. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly, he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. Our last vocabulary word was hesitated. And if you remember, that means to stop or pause because of not being sure. So why would he hesitate before hitting the tree with the axe? What made him change his mind? I'd like you to turn and tell somebody that you're with or comment below. I hope you enjoyed this story. We'll talk more about it tomorrow.